Welcome to the O'Neill Show. I have a couple questions to ask before we get started. If you answer yes to any of these questions, I would highly suggest not watching this video. The first question, do you get easily offended? Second question, do you get easily triggered? Third question, have you dyed your hair a crazy color and yelled up at the sky when you don't get your way? Fourth question, do you perhaps have a man bun and skinny jeans and prefer spiced lattes? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, again, I would not recommend watching this video. If you've managed to successfully answer yes to all these questions, you are more than likely a far leftist. I'm Jer O'Neill, and this is the O'Neill Show. Let's get started. Okay, so, a couple weeks ago, Biden had a town hall meeting, which, as you could predict, it was a disaster. The great journalist Don Lemon, who's a complete clown, was basically holding his hand and walking him through the entire hour of this dumpster fire. I'm only going to play you about 40 seconds because this 40 seconds will show you essentially what the full hour was like. Here we go.
It's like the other question that's logical, and I've heard you speak about it because I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
Well, that means you mean for the FDA?
For the FDA.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can essentially see how his hand was being held. And it's pretty sad because apart from the fact that he's let's be honest, a creepy pedophile in my opinion. I mean, the guy has a record of sniffing children. And let's not forget Tara Reid and that allegation. All right, so moving on here. Next thing I want to show you, because COVID has done crazy things to people. The media is not helping. As far as I'm concerned, instead of defunding the police, we should be defunding the media completely, because they never let a good crisis go to waste. And so they like to divide people. At first, this all started, it was 15 days to slow the spread. Then it was we can't get back to normal until we have a vaccine, and thanks to Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed, a vaccine was created. Now, the thing is they're now saying this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. But what they're failing to realize, because they're liberals, their argument, usually with liberals, I love this, because most of the time their arguments, as long as you repeat it back to them, they realize it doesn't make any sense. What I mean by this, take the pro-choice people. They say, my body, my choice. Okay, what about the baby inside of you? What about that baby's body? Does it have a choice? I never thought of that one. So there's that. But the same with COVID. Now they're saying, vaccinated people are spreading it, which is, well, yeah, it's a transmissible virus, and vaccinated people can spread it to vaccinated people. So again, I've made a video on this prior, but if the vaccine works, you have nothing to worry about. And these mask mandates, wear a cloth mask, wear a surgical mask. If anyone's been paying attention from when this first started, and Dr. Fauci, who has flip-flopped more times than I can count on this matter. First it was we don't need masks, then it was N95s, then it's surgical masks, cloth masks. Well, I'm sorry, I've literally been able to smoke a cigarette through a cloth mask. I've done it, just to prove a point. So it doesn't stop COVID, especially when it's aerosolized and the Delta variant's a little more stronger. And they're trying to push this onto kids. What they don't realize is you mask a kid, they don't wear it, right? They're a petri dish of germs, right? They're consistently sick, they're touching their face, they're not wearing it properly, and you want to put these masks on them for the majority of the day, 5 days a week, right? That impacts the child's thinking, it impacts their development. What happens when they can't see a teacher enunciate the words, right? It doesn't make any sense. And again, cloth masks don't work. If you really want to save lives, N95s are the only one, or one of the only ones that will actually do anything, right? The rest of it's just putting a cloth mask on is virtue signaling, plain and simple. But that's what liberals do. They like to virtue signal and do the complete opposite. Prime example is you had Dr. Fauci recently criticizing the Sturgis bike rally, saying that it's going to cause cases to rise. Which, by the way, cases in some states, yes, are rising, but the death counts are still low, right? And I don't care about case counts. I care about death counts. That's what matters. But yeah, you had him going off on the Sturgis rally, yet Barack Obama had hundreds of people over at his party without masks. Now, I don't care what Barack Obama does. I couldn't give two shits, to be honest with you. He should be allowed to celebrate his birthday party, but rules for me and rules for thee, right? A good thing, though, that I want to show you is a little interaction between Dr. Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, who's also a doctor, and him and Fauci have a little exchange, because you have to remember, Fauci flip-flops like crazy, right? He was asked a multitude of times, have you funded gain of function? And the answer was always no. It was a conspiracy theory, right? Well, check this out, because this right here is vastly important, because Dr. Fauci essentially gets called out, and I want you to pay attention to how he tries to walk it back, right? He's a piece of shit, right? He's one of the most powerful politicians nobody elected, right? I mean, I think he's been through 7 presidential terms, and nobody's elected him, and yet look at all the power that he has. And again, rules for thee, and rules for me, and then rules for thee. So let's check this out. This is good.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
So take a note. That moron is still trying to play that lie that we haven't funded gain of function. Now keep watching.
An animal virus, and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get one person.
Let's read from the NIH definition of gain of function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's send Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making.
Here we go. Here comes where he tries to walk it back and change the direction.
Is that the grant that was funded.
The grant, which was gain of function grant.
As a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan, created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting.
No, that's not where he's getting. He asked this lowlife if he's been funding gain of function. Now he's openly admitted right here that he has. But it's not what caused COVID-19.
Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a minute.
It did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because
classic leftist tactic. You're lying when you spit the truth.
If you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is
molecularly.
Those viruses
you can
caused
tell
the
Fauci,
pandemic.
he's getting
What we're
pretty
alleging
heated.
is the gain of function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
Can't
not.
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses
SARS-CoV-2.
caused the pandemic.
Senator Paul,
We're saying they are gain of function viruses because they were
They're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And you
admit the truth.
And you implying,
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
and you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals.
No, he didn't. He's not implying it. Not one bit. What he's implying is that you lied and bullshitted, and you were actually funding gain of function.
I totally resent that.
have
And if
been.
anybody
It could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Point the finger the other way. That's what I don't understand about these leftists and these liberals. They're so cement-headed. It's incredible. You know, you could sit there and tell them the sky's blue, and CNN will say it's pink, and they'll go, no, it's pink. So, anyways, what this has done, this virus, it's caused craziness. And one of the things that have recently happened is the government has been giving people stimulus checks now for quite a while, essentially paying people to stay home. And now that the pandemic is almost over, because let's face it, there's a vaccine now, they're essentially trying to say that, okay, people can get back to business. If you're owed back rent, it's time to start paying the rent. So what Joe Biden did is he went around the Supreme Court after the Supreme Court ruled that an eviction moratorium, essentially to keep people in their houses and have landlords be punished for trying to either repossess property or evict tenants, and if they do, comes with a severe penalty and possibly jail time. Joe Biden essentially was told by the Supreme Court, nope, it's not constitutional, you can't do it, and he did it anyways. And he openly stated that, okay, we're going to do this because it'll potentially give them more time. So the landlords are out of pocket. The landlords now have to pay property taxes, the mortgage, and they get screwed. But my question is, where did all the stimulus money go that they were given? I mean, they're still getting stimulus money for the most part. Yeah, are they just blowing it on stupid shit? More than likely. But he did that. And here's the thing: if this was Trump that would have done it, okay, this is how the media would have spun it. So right now, the media is spinning it as a good thing for Joe Biden because he cares about the small man. He cares about the people that can't pay their rent, could possibly be facing the streets. If it was Trump who did it, they would have turned around and said, well, Trump doesn't care about landlords. Trump doesn't care, you know what I mean? He doesn't care if the landlords have to pay, they're out of pocket. That's how they would have spun it, because they're morons. So an interesting thing, and this is sort of a side story, but it's in and of itself, it's extraordinarily funny. CNN was actually the one involved in this, and I love it. I love it when CNN shoots themselves in the foot. It's incredible. All right, so this one right here, I'm going to let this play. And it's just check it out. So I'll read it to you. Here, let me just quickly rewind this here, and in case you're listening on audio. This single mom was selling her blood to avoid eviction. She's now received more than 200,000 K in donations.
I'm so thankful for you guys because I had no idea what we were going to do, and just overnight, all you guys just reached out and helped us, and all the support, your encouraging words. It's just gave me a lot of hope.
Dasha Kelly is the mother of 3 girls in Las Vegas, Nevada. She lost her job at a casino due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Kelly and her girls were featured in a CNN News report. She is just one of an estimated 11 million Americans behind on their rent and facing potential eviction from their home.
Days ago.
Kelly is now donating blood plasma, $100 a time, to buy groceries.
So you are managing to eat okay,
Yeah,
or
exactly. Oh yeah, they're eating okay. Let's put it that way. I'm like, there's days I don't even want to roll out the bed, roll out the floor. You get what I mean.
Kelly's pawned or sold nearly everything she had.
I had a bed right here, and there was a TV right here on top of this stand, so I had to pawn that.
She thought about working online, but
you lost your laptop as well?
Oh, I had to pawn that trying to keep up with the bills.
Her story received an outpouring of support within a day. CNN sharing Kelly's story on August 2nd. Her GoFundMe had raised tens of thousands of dollars. As of August 5th, the page has raised more than $200,000, 10 times its initial goal of
I
$2,000.
just want to tell everybody thank you so much. I'm still in denial if you can't really tell. It's a lot to take in. It's very it's really overwhelming. These are tears of joy, trust me. I'm just so thankful. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I would especially like to thank, I don't know if I can, but Kim, the one who reached out to my family. I'm so thankful. we're so thankful for you guys because I had no idea what we were going to do. And just overnight, all you guys just reached out and helped us, and all the support, your encouraging words, like, it's just gave me a lot of hope, and I just want to make sure I do the best that I can to help the next person that is in my same situation. And
Okay, now I'll end it there because it sort of just goes on. For a single mother of three, it is hard, you know, especially if you're by yourself, to find a job. I mean, you can't just take any job that comes along, right? You have 3 children. You gotta figure out where they're gonna go, who's gonna watch them, things like that. So the way CNN's presenting this, which, you know what, for on its face, it's sad, right? Ignoring the fact that Joe Biden is going against the Supreme Court and going against the Constitution. This is a sad story, right? But before we all get sobby and cry about it, let's check this out. This is the New York Post, all right? So let's check this out right here.
That anybody would have reached out, especially CNN, and then to hear that a congressperson my story reached you. This is just amazing.
Pause it. A Las Vegas mother who claimed to be facing eviction received $200,000 in rent donations after an emotional plea for help on CNN. Again, I'm reading this for those watching or listening to the audio part. But now 32-year-old Dasha Kelly says she is just the babysitter of the 3 girls she claimed were her own. Shortly after the CNN piece aired, the girl's real mother came forward to angrily debunk the sitter's false claims. I love when this happens. This is great. Watching CNN having to take a step back. Kelly has since clarified her relationship to the 3 girls on her GoFundMe page. The girls recognize me as a mother figure in their lives, but I am not their biological mother. Okay, so here's the thing. This GoFundMe. So it says right there she had to change the description in her GoFundMe. Matt Walsh, who's another political commentator who hosts the Matt Walsh Show, when AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, put up a picture of her grandmother living in what looked like squalor, right? Like, it looked like the roofs had leaks in it and things like that. As a joke, Matt Walsh launched a GoFundMe for her grandmother. Now, within a crazy amount of time, the GoFundMe reached thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, someone on that side, presumably AOC herself, said that none of the money would be taken. So one of 2 things. Either she's that spiteful and doesn't want to take money from conservatives, or the whole picture she put up was bullshit. But the point is, GoFundMe took that down. Right? They took the GoFundMe page down. Everybody got their money back. This girl right here, who has clearly lied and cheated, right? All she has to do is just sort of update the GoFundMe, right? And the other thing is, she still gets the money. Now, GoFundMe is offering a refund, but who's actually gonna go for the refund when the story is gonna get buried? So I would say a good number would be probably anywhere from 70 to 80% of the people that donated are not gonna actually see the story where she was called out as fraudulent, right? They just, I did a good thing, sent money. So let's continue. Okay, so next I'm gonna get into something here. We're gonna jump a little bit to Hunter Biden. That piece of human trash. Yeah, he's just a dunce. So I'm gonna show you this, and the reason why I'm showing you this is, again, contrast. If this was one of Trump's children, say Don Jr. or whatnot, if this was him, this would be plastered all over the media. But the media is sitting on this and keeping it real quiet. As a matter of fact, you'll notice that I'm on Rumble right now, and I had to use Rumble because YouTube, the communists that they are, took it down. You can't find it. Okay, so essentially, everybody knows how Hunter Biden lost his laptop. Well, if you watch CNN or MSNBC, you know it's a conspiracy theory, that bullshit. And claiming that the Russians set him up. right? That was his excuse for the first laptop that he lost. Well, apparently he's lost 3. So this video right here, I'm going to read it to you because the audio is shit and the video is shit. So I'll read it to you. But he's with a prostitute. Go figure, right? And apparently from this video, he recorded it on his laptop. And when they were done, he decided to have a heart-to-heart with the prostitute, and his laptop was still rolling. Okay, so we're going to go through this quickly, and I'm going to read it just because, again, the audio is crap. Okay, so Hunter Biden says, anyway, my computer I had taken tons of, just left like that cam on, and he would always put it in a passcode and all that. You know what I mean. It was fucking crazy shit. And somebody stole it during that period of time. He did all of this kind of like pretend searching. This is, God, just goes to show how he speaks. So you can sort of see it in the back here. I mean, it's.
I think he's the one who stole my computer. I think the 3 of them, the 3 guys.
And again, I'm showing this because if this was one of Trump's sons, it would be plastered all over the media. Plastered. But CNN, MSNBC, all that shit, they coddle Democrats. They can't do no wrong. Okay, and so now he's saying right here, he goes, I think, and he's referring to a Russian. He goes, I think he's the one that stole my computer. I think 3 of them, the 3 guys that were like a little like group, the dealer and his 2 guys, I took them everywhere. Fucking everywhere. Crazy, out of your mind shit. The Russian, inaudible, she'd walk out with a fucking bathing suit in her hand. So he's referring to a Russian girl that was basically partying with them and being naked all the time. So remember how apparently Trump was a Russian asset? This piece of shit is literally saying that he's hanging out with Russians. Literally. And then you'll still get the liberals going, oh no, it's a conspiracy theory. Fuck off. Get bed. So he's still talking to the prostitute. So now she goes on to say, she goes, what is on the computer? And he goes, they have videos of me doing crazy fucking sex, you know.
What does the computer have to do? They have videos of me doing this. They have videos of me doing crazy sex. How long ago did this happen?
She goes, how long ago did this happen? Summer? So it would have been out there already if they.
Before the summer, yeah. So it would have been out already if they. No.
And Hunter interrupts and goes, no, because my dad, inaudible, running for president, he is. I talk about it all the time, inaudible. If they do, he also knows I make like $1 gazillion. And the woman goes, they try to blackmail you. Okay, so right then and there, you have him admitting he's already getting exorbitant amounts of money from somewhere. Again, this just goes to show the corruption of the Biden administration and the Biden family itself. I mean, it's really embarrassing. And the fact that the media went so hard on Trump. I mean, yeah, I get it. The guy was a little bombastic. He was a little outspoken. But policy-wise, I mean, he's far superior to this embarrassment of an administration. Continuing. So again, the woman says they're trying to blackmail you. And again, this was taken before the election, right? It was bad enough the media buried the laptop in the computer repair store story, but this one was completely buried.
He also knows I think I can do something about it. They try to blackmail.
Yeah, so she says they try to blackmail you.
No, he would say, try to get it back. No way. Give me a percentage of the
And He goes, yeah, in some way, yeah, inaudible. He sells them, but he sells them to anonymously to TMZ. So essentially, he's worried about having his personal, quite frankly, disgusting videos put out for the media to see.
No, I've seen it because he sells them. He sells them anonymously.
And the other thing too, this really goes to show his character. I mean, the last time I checked, the point of a prostitute was to sort of pay for sex. I've never actually seen or heard anyone like this dunce who pays for sex and then sits there and has a heart-to-heart after it's all said and done. Quite emotional. But hey, again, that's contrast, and he's a real fucking winner. Okay, so let's move on. A couple more things to discuss here is I'm sure everyone has heard of CRT, critical race theory. I know the left media is saying it's a conspiracy theory like they always do. By the way, what's the difference between a conspiracy, or the time difference between a conspiracy theory and truth? About 6 months. So teachers, not all of them, but the radical left ones, they're again, it's these white, middle-aged, woke women that dye their hair crazy colors or just do a whole bunch of radical things. They're the most opinionated. So some teachers are getting pissed off because they can't teach critical race theory. And critical race theory, on its face, is essentially that all institutions in the system are predominantly racist or inherently racist, right? And the reason why a person of color can't get somewhere and then say has a hard time and then a white person makes it or is successful, well, that's because of the racism in the institution. It's all bullshit. It's all complete bullshit. So this lefty loony here decides to make a video, and there's a few things that I want to talk about this, and they're all, again, these same teachers are pushing and screaming for vaccination passports. They want the kids masked up, and the whole vaccination passports. These same people that want this don't want voter ID, which makes no goddamn sense. But again, liberal thinking, right? So yeah, this teacher right here, and there's a few things that she says that I found interesting. So let's play this here.
This is what's bullshit. Today is the first time our country has recognized Juneteenth as a national holiday, and yet I'm getting ready to go back to school in the fall, and my governor has put into place some ridiculous legislation that many governors across the country put into place, such as I can't teach anything divisive. I can't.
First of all, why would you want to teach young kids anything divisive? You know what happens when you take a black kid, a white kid, an Asian kid, a Spanish kid, doesn't matter. You know what happens when you put them together in a schoolyard? They play with each other. Because that's what kids do. They play, right? Playing is a serious thing for a child, right? So they don't care what color the skin is. They don't care what the background is. But you have morons like this, cement heads, who feel it's their duty to implement this on your children, to indoctrinate them into this bullshit.
I can't teach critical race theory, and I can't teach about racial equity.
You don't need to teach racial equity. You don't. You don't need to teach racial equity to anybody, especially kids. I mean, what the fuck?
Visit all public schools, colleges, and universities. So, teachers, in the past, we've been activists. After this shit show of last year.
And quick side note, if you're unable to see it on the screen, I'll read it to you. Underneath the video, or on the bottom of the screen, she has a bunch of hashtags, and her name is Miss Magoo, at Miss Magoo, not Mrs. Miss. So she's single. Surprise, surprise. She goes, and it's hashtag Juneteenth, hashtag anti-racism, hashtag teachers, hashtag anti-racist teacher, hashtag to be taught me, hashtag iCarly affirmation, hashtag critical race theory, and then hashtag FYP. What kind of a teacher is this? What kind of a teacher does this? As far as I'm concerned, she should be canned, fired, and then throw away the key.
We really need to stand up and do what's right for our kids right now.
They're not your kids. They're the kids of parents. Your job is to teach them.
So this is a call to action, teachers. We gotta stand up and fight for our kids because this is bullshit. We can't lie to them.
Anyways, you know, shit like this is just mind-boggling. And you know, if you're wondering, you know, how do you fix something like this? Well, the answer is very simple. It's difficult, but it's simple. You pull your kids out of school, right? You pull them out. Make it so they don't get paid, because they're so opinionated and so entitled and believe that they know better than we do, that they know how to raise our kids better than we do. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I guess the last vital point I want to make is, at the end of the day, you know, you can lead a hard-headed liberal to facts, but you can't make them think. And instead of defunding the police like they're all screaming, we should start defunding the media, because the media is what's dividing us. You know, never let a good crisis go to waste. That's the way the Democrats think. I hope you liked that video. As usual, like, subscribe, share the video, and we'll see you next time.